Hello, good morning everyone. I'm Jing. So today is our lighthouse show. So what is our today topic is how well do you know yourself? What makes you you? So next, what is exactly personality? Personality is most agreed that the word personality organized from the Latin word persona. Actually, there is no true definitions of personality by the theorists. Personality gives us consistencies and individuality to the person's behavior. Personality is a pattern of relatively permanent traits and unique characteristics of an individual. Even animals have a consistent individual differences in behavior within their species. Traits may be unique, common to some group, or shared by the entire species, but their pattern is different for each individual also lah. There is so many personality theories, but today we will talk about Carl Jung personality theories. So, from him, as important part of Carl Jung conceptions of personality is the idea of unity of or wholeness. This wholeness is represented by the psyche, including all thoughts, feelings, behaviors, both conscious and unconscious. So, individuals strive to achieve this wholeness throughout their entire life. Here, the self is considered both the central and the entire personality. Other aspects of personality include attributes of the individuals and the way they function psychologically. While expanding the personality, actually Carl Jung identified three levels of consciousness. First, conscious, personal unconscious, collective unconscious. So, what is conscious? Actually, you can think like conscious is the ego. Ego is the center of consciousness, but not the core of the personality. The center of the personality is largely unconscious. The concept of the conscious is this is the only level individuals can know directly. It starts at birth and continues to grow throughout one life. As they go, individuals become different from others. This process is known as individuals, according to Carl Jung. The goal of this process is to know oneself as completely as possible. As individuals increase their consciousness, they achieve greater individuations. So ego is at the center of consciousness and organizing. The organizational structures of the ego give an individual a sense of identity. The ego screens out great amount of unconscious material to bring a sense of coherence and consistencies, well-being and impressions of individuality. Next, the personal unconscious is anything that is not presently conscious but can be. It included both memories that are easily brought to mind and those that have been represented for some reasons, which is those experience, thoughts, feelings, and perceptions not admitted by the ego, then will store in the personal unconscious. This contains the experiences that may either be trivial or highly conflicting, depending on the nature of the thoughts. When memories, thoughts, and feelings have a themes and an emotional impact on the individual, it is also called a complex. So what is collective unconscious? This refers to the inherited tendency of the human mind to form representations of mythological motifs. Such representations vary a great deal without losing their basic pattern. Jung considered that this is a predisposition for certain thought and idea that are inherent archetype. So, what is archetype? You can think like the content of the collective unconscious, we call that archetype. Carl Jung believed humans are not born clearly. He thought we came into this world with certain predispositions that cause our behavior. So, which means that archetype is the instinct as an unconscious physical impulse towards actions, and saw the archetype as the psychic counterpart to instinct. So, Carl Jung actually defined as universal primal symbol and image that derive from the collective unconscious as proposed by Carl Jung. They are the psychic counterpart of instinct. It is described as a kind of innate unspecific knowledge derived from the sum total of human history, which prefigures and directs conscious behavior. There are underlying base forms or archetypes as such from which emerge images and motifs such as the mothers, the children, the thrones, among others, like the history, culture, and personal context shape these metaphysical representations, thereby giving them their specific content. These images and motifs are more presently coded archetypal image. However, it is a common for the terms archetype to be used interchangeably to refer to both the base archetype as such and the culturally specific archetypal image. Like you can say that the example of archetype is family, story, and animals. You can see that the hero is like the champions, and then the mother, mostly we will talk like soothing, fitting. So the father is like very powerful, controlling, or the thought is like loyalty, and so on. So next, Carl Jung separate the personality in the eight type. First of all, is extroversions. Actually, extroversion is like based on where and how you get your energy. They separate in E or I in text. First, the E of course is introversions. Introversion means that you are a person's extrovert and you are turning outward of psychic energy so that a person is oriented towards the objective. It means that you get your energy or you recharge your energy throughout to the outer world or socializing. This will influence by their surrounding than by their inner world. These persons tend to focus on the object attitudes while surprising the subject also. Introverts prefer to the external world of things and peoples. This compared to if you are an introvert persons lah. So next is the introversions. Introversion means that you're turning inward of psychic energy with an orientation toward the subjective, which means that you recharge your energy by yourself. You more prefer to be alone or you have your self time. That's why you turn your inner world with all its bases, fantasies, dreams, and individualist perceptions. These people, you will perceive the external world selectively and with your own subjective view. Introvert more prefer the external world of things and people and another things like you will not judge by other people's lah. You will orientate primarily toward the inner world and you tend to focus your perceptions and judgment upon concept and idea. So the next one, the in-text is sensing and intuiting. So this in-text is decided to reflect a person's preference between two opposite ways of perceiving. One may rely primarily upon the process of sensing, which means that for this is like talk about how you take in the information. So if you are the S, which report, observe facts and happenings through one or more of the five senses, which means that your taste, your sight, your touch, your smell, and your hearings. So you are getting your information by your five senses. A sensing person is a good at looking and listening and generally getting to know the world also. Extrovert sensing people perceive external stimuli objectively. If you are an person, right, you will not really rely on the less obvious process of intuition. You will focus first on meanings, relationships, or probability that have been worked out beyond the reach of the conscious mind, which means that your perceptions that work outside of the usual conscious processes. You more focus on the future, and then if you are extrovert, intuitive people, you will orientate toward the facts in the external world, perceive things subliminally. And then the next one is if you are the introvert, intuitive people, right? You will guided by your unconscious perceptions lah. There is subjective and have a little to external. So the next in text is feeling and thinking. We will talk about the thinking part first. Actually, for these two, right, is like about how you make your decisions. This in-text is decided to reflect a person's preference between two constructing ways of judgments, or say it another way is like making a decision, as I mentioned just now. So if you are a person may rely primarily through the thinkings to decide in personality on the basis of logical consequences, as opposed to another who may rely primarily on feeling lah. If you are the F, right, mostly you will decide the on the basics of personal of social value lah, which means that you will decide the things based on your personal or your social value. If you are a thinker, right, you evaluating informations or idea rationally or logically. Rational functions means that it involves decision making or judging rather than simple intake of information. For example, if you are extroverted thinking people, you rely heavy on concentric thoughts but maybe use abstract idea lah. If you are introvert thinking people, you will interrupt an event more by the internal thinking than the objective facts. Other than that, if like back to the filler, right? So the process of evaluating an idea or an event. So you based on your own personal value or the social value to decide that which is good, which is bad. Which means that you more focuses on human value and needs, people and harmony. For example, extroverted feeling people. You use your objective data to make evaluations guided by external value and widely accepted standard of judgment. If you are an introverted feeling people, you base on your own value judgments primarily of objective perception rather than objective facts. It's subjective perceptions rather than objective facts. So lastly, we will come to the judging and the perceiving. So for these two, right, we more to how you order your life. These two in text are decided to describe the process users primarily in dealing with the outer world. So you can see that, but first of all, the judging not means that you judge people. So the perceiving not means that you perceive something, but the judging is like more to say that you are seek closure from the outer world through order, planning, and organizations. You're more comfortable navigating life in an orderly way. So do not confuse judging with judgmental, not judgmental, okay? Evaluating external data and methodically making decisions, which means that, for example, you will work first and then play later, and then you will more prefer knowing what you are getting into. So, for example, you would like to have things decided, and then you will appear to be task oriented, and then you would like to make list of things to do, which means that you have a to-do list. You more prefer to have the to-do list. The next example is you like to get your work done before you play. You plan work to avoid rushing just before a deadline. Sometimes you will focus so much on the goal that's why, and until you miss the new information. So if you are a perceiving, right, you will cope with challenges by keeping an open schedule that allow them the flexibility, which means that you are a person which is more flexible if compared to J. You not really like to plan your things. If you are the people with a perceiving preference are adaptable and non-judgmental, you more understand and adapt to the world rather than organize. As I mentioned, you not really like to organize your things, not more prefer. Your preferencing to take in information's naturality, sensuality, and time approaches to receiving and assessing to the decisions. So, for example, you would like to stay open to respond whatever happens lah, which means that you enjoy your life first and then work later. You will change your goals as if new informations become available. Another example statement is like you more appear to be loose and casual. You like to keep plan to a minimum. You like to approach work as play or mix work and play. You work of your energy also, and then you sometimes you stay open to new information so long until you miss making decisions when they are needed also lah. Which is the most comparisons between these two is like one is like to planning, another is not really prefer to organizing the things lah. So actually we have assessments who call MBTI, which is based on the work of Carl Jung. Carl Jung say everyone uses every preference. We favorite one preference over the another on each of the four skills. Actually, MBTI scores should not be over-interpreted. High score do not indicate great skill or use of a preference. Score just indicate clarify about or help you to know more about yourself. So, are you ready to text about your personality? This is our MBTI personality test. You can Google search and type 16 personality test, and there's a website address also. After you search, you will show this website page. First of all, this test, there is no right or wrong answer. It's just that you think you are this personality, you agree, then you agree. You are not agree, then you just pick not agree. The next, you are no time limit to do the test. You can take your time to complete your task also. So after you click the take the task, you will look at this page. As I mentioned just now, there is no right or wrong answer. For example, the first question, you regularly make new friends. You no need think too much. You just first answer that come to your mind. If they strongly agree, you just take the strongly agree. The middle one is neutral. Then the last one is strongly disagree. If you feel like strongly disagree, you just take strongly disagree. That's it. Only there's no right or wrong. Okay. Lastly, after you complete the test, you have your result like the pictures show that INFJ, right? So which means that I represent the introvert, and in intuitions, F is feeler, J is judging. So you can to know more about your details. There is interpretations below also. So that's it for our today lighthouse. Thank you so much. If you have any not really understand about the MBTI test result, right? So you are welcome to come for our SGU, which located at the TA building level 3. You can come here to have a sessions with a counselor that you can explore with the counselor about your result, no matter you think that is fixed to yourself or not. But actually, I would like to let you know the personality test, which means that not say that after you test you memang is this kind of person. It's just that maybe in some situation you may be a bit extrovert, but in some situation you will become introvert lah. Once you do the test, you will know more about yourself. Thank you so much. Thank you for listening to our today lighthouse. Thank you. Bye bye.